Okay, guys, I'm going to start with wands, and then I'm going to do cups, and then I'm going to do swords, and then I'm going to do pentacles. Wands is the active masculine element inside each and every one of us. And it is the part of you that wants to basically achieve in this world. It is all the things that make you tick. It is competitive energy. And our ancestors channel this energy inwards because inside of everyone is a part of your mind, a part of your subconscious that is connected to God. That part of our subconscious, my Norse ancestors called it Vanaheim, water home. And the beings that live there, Frey and Freya, Lord and Lady, that's part of our soul that's connected to source. That is source energy. So connecting back to it is very beneficial because that's maiden with mead. That's hero meets maiden with mead. All the fairy tales. Often, you have the prince wakes up the sleeping princess. He wakes up his own soul. You have Beauty and the Beast. The masculine there is a beast. The feminine is Belle. They're the same being. As I spoke about in the strength card in Pinocchio, it is Pinocchio meets the blue fairy and discarded in the ocean, and it's the same relationship repeated itself in many fairy tales and many myths over and over again. But the tarot card is this journey as well, especially the major arcana cards, but also the suits. So when we have wands, we have the masculine who wants to meet maiden with mead. So cups, that's your maiden with mead waiting for the masculine. So in Ace of Wands, you basically have your motivation to go on the vision quest. That's what this is. That's what this card means. It's a lot of motivation. This castle, it's the mind. That's where you're going to investigate what's going on within. In Two of Wands, now he's in the castle. So you see the castle here? Right there? Now he's in the castle, holding the world. The world is Yggdrasil. Yggdrasil is the mind. Yggdrasil is the world. It's Loki is Saturn. And Loki is Yggdrasil. Saturn is a symbol also of the mind. So the world, that's why in the world tarot card is the whole of the human mind. You can say even it's a soul. So here he holds his mind in his hand. He's in the vision quest right now in Two of Wands. In Three of Wands, there is a deepening here in how deep he is actually going, because you can see the ships, which is his consciousness, is going further into his own mind. But now he's in the ocean, basically. So he's connected now to himself or herself. Here you sort of have the same as the maiden with mead, the masculine and the feminine. And there is stability here because there is some kind of union here in between the two elements within the seeker. And you can see the castle in the background. This is part of the vision quest. Now there is a little bit of conflict because in every vision quest there is some conflict. Five of Wands, all the different personalities within the seeker. We're very complex beings. Now they have to work out who is a winning personality, who is a true self. In Grimnismal, which is a very famous Norse story, Odin actually has a personality disorder in that story. His name means the masked one, Grimnir, masked one. He lives behind a false facade, a false ego. And his true self lives in a cave with an ogre. That's how they use the metaphors. But he ends up going to a castle where a king lives, and that's his false self. But the king has had a son, and that son has the same name as his true self that he kind of ignored into, you had to live with an ogre in a cave. So now we know that his true self is there, and he gets bound up in the fireplace, and the fire catches him, but he gets mead from his true self called Agnar. So he redeems himself. He realizes, this is actually where you get all the 52 names of Odin in Grimnismal, because he realizes who he actually is. In that poem, you also get the full map of Yggdrasil, because he realizes who he is on such an expanded level, and he realizes who he actually is, his true identity. And the false king panics, when he realizes that Odin realizes who he actually is. He trips and falls on his own sword. I think his name is Geirrod. And Agnar is held the new king, his true self. The same thing is happening here. All the different personalities, the seeker is finding out who is their true self. And the winning personality, Agnar, wins. And it's a new king, basically. He's the new hero. And then the seeker comes out of the vision quest. They come out again. Now he's a bit higher up, so it means he's coming out of the vision quest, and he has to hold his ground coming out of it again. And he's continued to come out of it in 8 of Wands. It's a little bit similar to the star and the moon, coming out of the vision quest. And fully out here in 9 of Wands, but you can see there's some wounding there, because with the vision quest, there's a little bit of that redeeming afterwards. In the major canon cards, we have the justice card. It is that understanding of maybe where things haven't always been great. Like maybe in 5 of Wands, the seeker understands where maybe they have been wrong in their life, and they have to kind of understand how they have operated in the world that maybe wasn't very good. So they know they have to not just protect their new self, their true self. They also know that they have to be very strong, and they have to be very individualized as well. And they also have to take full responsibility of their life. When you see 10 of Wands, he works really hard here. And there is a lot that he has to create and build in his life. He's out of the vision quest, but he has a lot on his shoulders. There is not necessarily that your life will be easier when you do this sort of work. They never promise that. They just, what the reward is that you be more connected to yourself. You live your more truer self. So you're able actually to do more, but it's more in alignment with who you actually are. So the court cards then has to do with your spirit, your masculine energy. And in Page of Wands, we see a lot of personality. It's a little bit similar to the Fool. The Fool is about to go under. The Fool has a feather on his hat. The same thing you see here in the Page of Wands. And he's holding the wand, ready to go on the vision quest. He's very motivated. Now you can see there's the fire. His feather looks like fire. And there's fire also coming out of his, it looks like his armor. So there's a lot of passion here. There's a lot of desire. The Queen of Wands, every time you see a court card that is sitting on a seat, it reminds me of Odin's seat called Gateway, which is a symbol of the pineal gland, basically. So there is a deepening of connection to self in the court cards, the Queen and the King of, in all the suits actually. So she's sitting there, and there's you can see there is the symbolism here with the lion, which is Christ consciousness. She's holding up a sunflower, which is sun consciousness. She has a cat there, which is her intuition. So intuition is strengthened here in Queen of Wands. And then you have King of Wands, which is really a symbol of Odin, because, wands, this on the seat. You also see the salamander, looks like a salamander, maybe a gecko, has made an Ouroboros. So you also see the lion, because there is such a reference here to, especially in these 2 cards, to the lion. It's a reference to Christ consciousness, which really is God's consciousness. So it's way beyond what they teach in religion. And the ultimate goal of the vision quest is to reach that level. Like, it's to actually to feel that you are part of God, that you're part of all that is, that you're connected to this force. That is the ultimate goal, actually, of the vision quest. And that's why, there is where do Knight of Wands get the courage? You know, there's flames there. You know, Odin, he caught fire in Grimnismal because that's the most intense moment. It's when that gateway or that channel is open, because it is such an expansion, and it's just about to happen here in Knight of Wands, and then it's happening for the seeker here. I do feel like the tarot card is a great tool to use. I think the dream time is extremely beneficial. Every time you look into yourself and you can sit honestly with your emotions, even the difficult emotions, the fire element really brings that purification. So with the wands, one last thing I want to say before we jump into the next video. Have a look at the pyramids here. Pyramid there, pyramids there, there's pyramids here, and there's no pyramid there on the King of Wands. So what were the pyramids for? That's the big question. There is one theory that they were consciousness accelerators. I heard that for the first time when I was listening to Jeff Mara. And there was an Australian man on called John Scott who had an NDE, and during his NDE he learned about the pyramids. Now I will link that video there. He's done, I think, 3 interviews on Jeff Mara, and you can listen for yourself and make up your own mind. When you then look at the wands being masculine energy, and then you think consciousness accelerator, you know, is that how they use their masculine energy to accelerate their consciousness? You know, Pamela Coleman Smith, she's using symbolism here that ties straight back into the vision quest. There's no pyramids here because here he's already got the energy, the concentration, it's all channeled exactly how he basically wants it. So in all the kings, they basically have achieved their goal. So that's why the king is such a positive card. Even if you don't read it with the vision quest, the kings have a very positive energy to it. If you get it reversed and you're reading it the normal way, it can be authorities that aren't easy to deal with. But when you're reading with upright, it's usually a positive authority in your life. It can be a leader that helps you in some way. But when it's a vision quest, you are the authority. You are the authority that takes you where you need to be. So the kings really are a fantastic card to get in tarot. But even in the wands, you know, with the pyramids showing up except for the kings, it means he has accelerated his consciousness to where he wants it to be, basically, which is back with source, which is the ultimate goal of the vision quest, is to be one with source again. It's to not to lose your individuality, but to take you back to your true self, which is one with source. You know, that is our true nature. And because of the veil, we don't really feel that is our true nature, but it is. So the vision quest is there to bring us back to our true selves again. That is the purpose of the vision quest.